Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Woohoo! Well, we got full HD today. I just realized I actually upgraded to full HD just a little while back, and I forgot to actually put the mode on. So hopefully you enjoy the full HD content from now on. I know that sometimes after it goes live, it can take a little while to upload from YouTube. So just take that to note if you're watching it on the replay again. But anyway, welcome everybody. I hope you enjoy. Hopefully the quality should be way better. 2x better, is it? Fun times. Let's see who's in the house today. We got Lies Beneath. Hello, how are you today? Very good. What have we got? The Hex Pulsechain incentive for the win, 100%. Definitely winning today. So really, really cool. We're going to talk about some big money, about $10 million or so coming into Pulsechain over the next few weeks, I guess. So we're going to talk about that today. What else? We've got Sandy Beach in the house. Sandy Beach is amazing, doing health and fitness for the whole community, inspiring everybody to keep fit while we enjoy the crypto boom and wait for the Pulsechain Magic Carpet Ride. And a big shout out from Sandy as well. If you haven't followed Sandy, give her a follow. All right, let's get into it. Without further ado, we're going to kick off with the stock market, go crypto, go Pulsechain, and then we're going to finish up with the second half of the show on the Titan X ecosystem with Hydra, Inferno, Titan Farms, and Flux. So there we go, folks. That's the setup for today. Get into it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Hit the bell. We are streaming over 3 channels. So Superman Crypto, Pulsechain X, and Hex Token. Get on and subscribe and follow on those channels. Share them around on X. Really does help, and I do appreciate that support. So get on to that, folks. Now let's go for gold. If you like the background here, this is the Flux background with the Flux project, which we're going to talk about later on. So stay tuned for that. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to get into the stock market. Stock market today, S&P 500 shrugs off energy financial slide as tech shines. So it was a little bit wobbly at the beginning of the day. I remember this is Tuesday's results for the United States markets. We got the Dow Jones is down 0.2%, 93 points, down to 40,736 on the index. Remember, the Dow Jones has the top 30 industrials. S&P 500 is up 0.5%, 25 points to 5,495. The Nasdaq is up 84 hundredths of a percent. It's at 141 points. That's a really good day in the stock market for the tech companies. 17,025. So some pretty good results overall. US dollar is down slightly versus the trading partners. We're going to be watching for that going below 100 once we get some interest rate pivots and devaluation. That's kind of what we're watching with the US dollar, and also whether it spurs on this big commodity rally we're expecting, which has already had its kind of opening round, but we could see some really bullish things here with commodities. West Texas oil at the moment up 0.8%, 50 cents to $66. Brent oil also $69.68, down slightly, about 8 cents. Gold is up 0.2%, $4 up gold to 2,547, and silver there up 0.4%, 12 cents to $28.73. And if we get that interest rate pivot, we get US dollar devaluation, we should see a big rally in these. Maybe silver goes from $28 to 75 to 125. That could be the big target, right? So that's kind of where we are at the moment on that. Now, as you guys know, we are getting closer to the Fed meeting. That's coming up on the 18th. So let's see how close we are today. 1 week and 17 hours and 56 minutes to go until the Fed meeting on the 18th. This could be a critical moment in interest rate cycle with the pivot expected moving from 5.5% down to 5.25%. We're expecting 25 basis points at the moment. But as you guys know, we also have the economic calendar telling us that we have a big day tomorrow and Thursday, US time, because we have this week, we have the CPI, that's the Consumer Price Index, coming out Wednesday. That's going to be a really big deal. We can see that year-over-year forecast is 2.6%. Previously, it was 2.9% in the July month. So if we can get 2.6% or lower, that would be very bullish for the interest rate targets, maybe even 50 basis points cut rather than 25. That's a big deal. And then, of course, on Thursday, we have initial jobless claims at 229,000. It was 227,000 the previous month. And the other big inflation indicator, the Producers Price Index, the PPI, that is kind of the wholesale prices. And we have an indication there for month on month at 0.2%. So anything that beats those numbers is going to be bullish for our crypto and stocks. So that's kind of where we are at the moment on the stock market. And economic news leads us into crypto. Crypto is looking pretty awesome. We got Bitcoin up 1% at $57,695. So we're heading in the right direction again. I mean, September is, rec September or whatever. Yeah, let's see how well we do actually by the time we finish it with those interest rate cuts coming up in just over a week. We got Bitcoin dominance at 55%, 54.8, let's be precise. And we got Ethereum there up 1.2%, $2,389 on Ethereum. So a nice little comeback there for Ethereum, back up there closer to $2,400. Solana's up slightly as well, 0.4%, $135. XRP up 0.25%, 54 cents. Tron, ADA, and BNB are down slightly. What else there? Litecoin up slightly as well. So that's kind of the overall view. But generally, that's heading in the right direction, right? Up is always good. We're still targeting that 90 to 100K Bitcoin by the end of the year. October to December rally. Maybe the election has kicked us off. Maybe it's a little bit later, but October, December, still expecting to get a bit of a rally on for that target of Bitcoin. So, and as we can see, Bitcoin holding up at a pretty good base level to go hit that number. We saw Saylor talking about by 2045, if you're still alive, then that Bitcoin could be $13 million of Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of money printing going on between those years. A lot of, I guess, the wealth savings and transfers. But $30 million Bitcoin by 2045 for those that are nice and young. That could be something pretty exciting, just to own a bit of Bitcoin and just bide your time for retirement, right? That's probably the way of looking at it. All right, so we've got Bitcoin on the hourly. You can see we've pretty much been rallying up here after these big cascading falls. Look at these big cascading falls. We're finally having cascading upwards. We always like, as Richard would say, match a cart ride up to the right. So get wrecked to the upside or something. There we go. And we're back up at 57,500. So pretty cool. And on the hourly, we've got a little bit bullish cross here as well with the 50 hourly moving. Let's go to the daily on Bitcoin on Coinbase. This is the mark. So we came all the way down 52,600. We're back up at 57,571. So it's pretty good, right? Pretty good. That's inside a few days. So we're up, 9.5% on Bitcoin, $5,000. We'll take that. And this is the wider view there of the dailies. And of course, it does look like it rolls over a little bit, right? But we are expecting a bit of a dip here in September. And we've kind of got that August, September, a bit of a dip there. And hopefully we rally either the interest rates or the US election or somewhere in between. We rally out into October, into a Christmas bull run and target that 90 to 100K Bitcoin, right? That's what we want to look at there. All right, so that's kind of Bitcoin. Ethereum, which has been the weaker of the two, is managing to slowly climb back up. 2,383, got all the way down to 2,150. Can you believe it? So let's have a look on the daily. And that's just the hourly chart. So look at the daily. Looks like we're going to have a bullish cross on the hourly there, although 4 hourly is a much better indication. Look how deep that death cross has been so far. Certainly played out, right? And we got down to $2,150. Crazy stuff. But we are up. We're up on Ethereum, 10.7%. So slightly 1 percentage point higher than the old Bitcoin at the moment. So a little bit of a comeback there. You can see basically the price that we're at the moment has brought us all the way back. I mean, obviously we were back at this price range in August, but it took us all the way back before we had that big rally back to February. Can you believe it? When we had these prices. So bring it on. It's a double top, right? Double top to a higher top. I don't know. You let me know in the chat. So that is pretty much the majors. Let's go to the meme coins. And we can see at the moment we've got Dogecoin at 15 billion. And that's up 5% for the week, but down. Everything's down a couple of percentage points on the 24 hours for the most part. PB just went green. Let's have a look here. So Dog with Hat is down 10% for the week. Pretty much down slightly today. Brett is up 16% for the week on base chain. So it's doing pretty well, up 2.5% today. Popcat on Solana is up 15% as well. So some good nice movers there. Up 4% on Solana, the good old DGN VC chain there. Meme chain. Dogs on Ton chain. It's up 2.8% with the old Telegram, down 3.5% today. Still sitting at 543 million market cap, so still pretty good. We've got another couple of movers here for the week. Bomb is up 12%. Mew is up 13%. Mog is up 16%. Sundog, this new entry, is 29%, 5% for the day, sitting at 307 million on Sundog. And of course, our my favorite here, Dog on Bitcoin. And of course, the Bitcoin rallies to 90, 100K. That's what we're betting, that Dog will start taking over a lot of these coins up here and start heading towards number one, right? So that's our backing on Dog. Dog up 4% for the week, and all of that was today, because it was up 5% today. So all that gain today. Dog has reached the bottom on Dog. I think so. I think it's going to be up and up once we get out of September. $270 million of market cap. So watch out for dogs on runes. Dogs on runes, of course, runes protocol dominating transactions on a Bitcoin network. So a big deal there. So that's some of the leaders amongst the meme coins. What do we got there? The total market cap. I've got that. No, I haven't got that because I've made it too big here. All right, I'll let this go out of that. That's the meme coins. That's kind of our crypto and economic stock market news. We're going to get into Pulsechain next, and then after Pulsechain, the Titan X ecosystem as well. So something for everybody, right? Something for everybody. That was that staccato talk, I don't know. We got Hexcavator in the house. Hey, gang. Good to see Hexcavator. Hexcavator building the infrastructure of the United States. We appreciate it. Appreciate your service. And it definitely needs it. United States definitely needs a lot of infrastructure build. Hopefully when Trump's, surely he's going to win. I know the debate's on right about now, is it? In about half an hour or something between him and, I don't know, the dummy that's going to be opposite him, Kamala Harris. But yeah, it's, I wonder if she's going to have a little earpiece, a little cheap meister, because she can't talk very well. So we'll see. Anything that comes out of her mouth is socialist, communist stuff anyway. We got UFO as in house there. Nice, juicy PTGC. Yeah, it's a cool project. It's just the name is terrible. I love the project. The name's terrible. But PTGC's been doing absolutely amazing on the market and Pulsechain. Absolutely amazing. So you can't beat a chart like that. What I get up to 2.6 pulse per one PTGC token. And I don't know, last time I looked, it was about 2.3. Absolutely amazing. Flipped Pulsechain. Pretty crazy from that point of view. All right, let's get into Pulsechain since we're talking about it. Bam. All right, so Pulsechain, day 487. We're only 13 days away from 500 days since Pulsechain launched. Crazy stuff, right? What was it, 13th of May last year? Crazy stuff there. We got Pulsechain at the moment up 40347. Our second day in a row of green candles, up 3.17%. Still 35% of the mean sacrifice price is still a really good entry for those that want the big upside. Pulsex at the moment, quadruple 178, up 6.6%. A nice big move there, and back up into the next price range, which is good to hear. We were sitting just above the previous support. Now we got back in just above the second support, but higher, which is kind of cool. The buy and burn, 974.1 billion. Pulsex has been bought up by the market and burned through the Pulsex mechanism, sitting at 4.83% of all public supply is gone forever. So that's kind of cool. Incentive token, $1.63 is up 6.26%. And of course, the ratio is up, more importantly, 47,309. So 3% of that is the pulse price. The other 3% is the ratio going up, bouncing off the bottom of that range. We kind of just tested it, and we managed to hold that range that it's in. So that's bullish for INC. Total INC, 42 million, say. Let's just round it up, 42 million INC. And of course, that's from the Pulsex V1 farms. Hex, of course, is at 4,200th of a penny, up 7.73%. So Hex is the winner today. Hooray, Hex. You can't keep Hex down. Now, people would have made some pretty decent gains off Hex if they'd bought the bottom. So that's kind of cool. And that was only, 2 days ago? Anyway, we've got EHEX at the moment, 1,200th of a penny. Combined price of EHEX and PX is at 5,400th of a penny at the moment. So just over half a cent now. And maybe it's going to be climbing quite a bit there on the rally. So that's day 487. Let's quickly go to the charts. The charts here on Hex. Let's do the full chart here. Now, obviously, this is the weekly candle. So we had a nice big bounce here. Hex, this previous week, Hex got down to a low of 3,100th of a penny. Can you believe it? So crazy stuff. Am I on the right? So it's Pulsechain. My bad. Pulsechain got down to quadruple 031. Quadruple 3,100. And we're back up at quadruple 3,475. So a nice little bounce there in the RSI. Still pretty low. So we can have quite a hyper rally on Pulsechain if we get it moving. And of course, on the daily on Pulse, the RSI is not even 50 yet. So we can have a nice little run here on the old chart. So there we go. There's some bullish news today. Let's go out and let's go back to the weekly again, because I want to talk about what's coming up. Obviously, we've got the Richard Hart versus ECC oral arguments in New York on the 24th of October. So that is coming up. It's only weeks away, I should say. So that's going to be pretty important too. Now, we got Pulsechain at the moment. Pulsechain on the daily has been rallying up here. So we were way down at quadruple zero 1500. We're now almost back at 1800 here. So that's good news on that. And we're at 50, around a similar spot on the daily with the RSI. So lots of room to move on the old Pulsechain, and it's got to be looking good, right? Got to be looking good. That's it on the weekly. You can see that we held that support line there, 14 to 1500, and we've managed to bounce off there. So let's see if we can get a nice run. RSI got plenty of room to move on the daily and the weekly. Bring it on, bring it on. That's all we can say. INC as well, up and away. Let's have a look here on the ratio. You guys will see on the ratio here that it is looking pretty good. Like, look at that ratio. So it managed to defend it. It did test it and managed to defend it and back up. So INC is performing like a boss, They are coming off some real strength at the right time, at the right place. Now, let's have a look at the Pulsechain returns. I want to go to the farms here. We can see that the farm returns obviously picking up with the higher price of Pulse and the rest of the assets here. So everything going up here, 53% on the DAI Pulse, 54% on the USD Tether Pulse. Hex Pulse there is 20%, 29% on Incentive Pulse. So some nice stuff happening there. And are we going to get a bigger fattening in the liquidity? I suspect we're going to, folks. I think that's going to be ramping up. And of course, we had this new addition of stable swaps, right? So let's go to stables here. And we've got $300,000 in that now. We started off at 80K, or at least finished 80K around that day on the 3rd. Now we're on the 11th here, and we've got 300K in here. I think this is going to be significant moving forward. So we've got this liquidity coming in. We've got more liquidity coming in. So I think Pulsechain bottom may be in this month, even with the court case. So it's going to be fun to see that play out in September. Yeah, 714. Look at the volume. We started with 37K volume on the 3rd. And look at yesterday, we had $805,000 volume through the stable peers. And then we had 717,000 yesterday. We've started a brand new day. So I really like these volumes heading up where they are heading. So these are all blues clues, right? That things are potentially bouncing off the bottom there. So fingers crossed on that. We're getting another little run on these charts. We've got plenty of RSI room. We've got capital coming in. Things could really be lifting up really, really nice. The LP reward on the stable swap, USD Tether, USDC DAI, is 12.3%. That's been rising. And obviously, this is really for large money to make money in here, not really generally for smaller players. You'd probably want to take more risk, get for higher yields like in the farms. But for the bigger players, they've got big money they want to park, fairly safe, with the stable coins, then it's probably a good place for them to park it, encouraging money to come in too. All right, and of course, a lot of people can pair up project tokens to these and all that sort of stuff. So there we go. All right, so let's jump over to Hex quickly. Hex is at 4200th of a penny. Now, what a mad gains you would have gotten Hex really on the Pulsechain side. So it hasn't not been too bad. The last 2 days, we've gone a 16.5% gain. So really good gain there. And people would have enjoyed that, coming off the bottom, even slightly higher than that. I think I have got it accurately, but 3600 of a penny up to 4200 of a penny on Pulse there. That's pretty awesome. RSI is the same spot as everything else, around 48, 49 on the daily. Going to the weekly for Hex on Pulsechain, and that is it, bouncing here. But man, are we going to zigzag up? We've got plenty of room in the RSI on the weekly. Look at that, 30 to 38, and we've got capital flowing into the system. So that's what you want to see. EHEX, we're going to quickly go through that. 1200 of a penny. Now we know BankX has pulled out. I think they've only got 175 million Hex left there. Apparently they've been selling small lots of Hex at around what is it? I'm just trying to remember now. It's either a million Hex or $1,000 a Hex, something like that. Anyway, so they've been selling every day for quite a bit of Hex there, and so they look like they're really micro DCAing out. And so that BankX is going to be smaller. We might cover that maybe tomorrow or something. That's very important for EHEX. Some people are getting very bullish about where Hex can go there. We also know that the Hex.com site has removed all the stuff about Hex. The market has spoken, and so that's kind of bullish too. There we go. That's from the I guess the founder, aka. All right, so that's kind of it on the markets. Now we're going to go quickly to all the Hex derivatives. Some really nice movements, man. ICOSA up 31% on the Pulsechain. ICOSA up 29% on the Ethereum chain. We've got some nice movements across the board for all the Hex derivatives, up 5 to 7% respectively, including all the Maximus mining pools for Hex. So a really good day in the office there for the old Rich Art ecosystem and the Hex derivatives as well. So big shout out to Golkey, Dipcatcher, and Alex McFerder for these products. They have made a major role, particularly in the bear market, where they got over 2 billion. I think it was maybe 2.3, is it? A billion hex off the market. So really, really big deal there. And a big shout out to those guys. Let's go to stablecoins. We've got a bit of move on PDAI. PDAI up to 3200th of a penny. It's up 10%, followed by the USDC, USD Tether, and LUSD. These are the speculative stables, right? So they're not pegged to a dollar, but they want, their ambitions is to try and do something like that. So we like that, and they may be associated to something that Richard's doing potentially around the curve protocols and others. So we'll see what happens in that space. But anyway, the market's trying to push it up, and a nice big movement today. This is certainly a structural change in this chart. And we'll see whether it can get to this golden line up here. That's 1 penny. It got rejected at 9300th of a penny. 93. No, 93 or 98. Was it? Yeah, 9200th of a penny back here on the 1st of April. So we'll see whether it can close that gap to 1 cent. There's going to be a bit of a frenzy if it gets to 1 cent. That being said, there's a lot of holders of this PDAI. So there's always a dump fest that's available on this one. It is speculative, but we'll see how it goes. And if something bigger happens with that around Richard Hart, then we will, obviously see. We'll probably have to cover that topic as well at some stage. All right, so that is pretty much it on that one. Let's quickly go to influencer coins. Influencer coins, the best performer today is Bro again. Bromance killing, still doing it. That's from Ben Armstrong, up 7%. More token from Trayvon, up 6.7%. And everything else doing pretty well. As I said, tip of the year is SolidX. With this crash game coming from Dragon X founder Eric later in the year. This could be a nice little pickup here on SolidX as well. And a big shout out to Randy Olasky and Axis Live, doing great jobs out there promoting and doing their social stuff as well for Note Token and Axis Live. All right, let's get into some of the projects as well. Best one here, UFO, up 9%. So we're going to go to the overall coins. Let's go to see how Pulsechain is overall. Because I'm going to talk about the potential big capital coming into Pulsechain. So let's do that in a minute. All right, so we've got 9.6 million in volume today, so it's a good day. We've had 2 good days in a row. I think yesterday was at 11 million. We've got 9.6. There's a lot better than the 5 to 7 million that we've been having. So it's good movement there. Transactions 172,000, so still modest on the transaction count. The big movers today, Mollarat at 21% here. Inky there up 21%. Alien up 16%. Atropine there up 14%, Affection up 13%, Teddy Bear, I know there's one of Moon King's ones, up 12% there, Tangang Orange Man Good up 11%, Die Hard, which is gets a PDAI reflections, that's up 10.6%. So some nice movers amongst the top there, and of course you can see Hex just sneaking in here as well, right? At up almost 8% today at 4,200 a penny. So some nice stuff happening there. All right, let's jump away from that. That is some of the big stuff there. Let's quickly look at the gas prices. 500,000 beats, so it's up quite a bit today. That's normally about 100 to 200,000. So we've got 7/10 of a penny. Normally that's 4/10 of a penny on a Pulsex swap. So definitely risen there. Gwei on Ethereum, 2 Gwei. We're up 261x on Ethereum at the moment. Going to the validators. Let's have a look at those. 48,645 validators. 1.56 trillion Pulse is staked with the validators. The bridge, $91 million. So we're up quite a bit there from memory. So that's kind of cool to see that extra money. What were we at yesterday? 90.4, I think. So we're up about 700,000 by my count, if I got that right. So that is pretty good for day 487. And we're going to be getting on to day 488. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, we do have big news here from Hex Scout. And this is talking about big cash coming into Pulsechain. So we're going to talk about that too. Let's see here. We got a couple comments. We've got Craig Pittenhouse there. Morning, Craig. Always a pleasure to have you in the house. Wookie says, what a day, full HD and an HD for Murphy. Yeah. That's right. So I will be doing a stream in about 6 hours time. That's going to be maybe 5.5 hours time. It's going to be on Mafia. We're going to do an update around Mafia. So if you're in the Mafia game on Pulsechain and BNB, then we'll be covering that as a fun show. May give some keys away. You never know as well. Open up some crates at $20 each. You might win hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. Well, at least hundreds of dollars, I think. Well, you actually could win thousands because there's Mafia there, isn't there? And there's 100 keys to be won. So we'll see. All right. So this is from Hex Scout. Something enormous is happening on Pulsechain. The largest capital movement since the fork is on its way. Yet 99.9% of Pulsechain influencers, unfortunately, understand absolutely nothing about it. The only one in Pulsechain ecosystem that who fully grasps the subject is Hex Scout, one of out of love for Pulsechain and Richard Hart's creation, and knowing that Hex needs Pulsechain and benefits from its strength. We see it as our necessary duty to explain to the community what's going on and why Hex Scout understands it, while others don't, or worse, misinterpret it and spread unqualified statements. So there we go. So that is what it's leading into. Now we're going to jump through a lot of this. I'm going to post this link in the video description if you want to, in the chat description if you want to read it. But what we want to do is get to some of the details here. So we're going to scroll down through some of this. We're going to scroll through all that. You can't read all that, so we're going to pass through all that, of course. Scroll down. So obviously they're talking about Sun AG now bring a lot of capital, doing a lot of business. So you can read all about that. I don't want to get into the details of that, but you can read it yourself if you want to see the full details. I just want to jump down to the bottom here. All right. So let me just keep scrolling. It's a good read, so you can see that yourself. So let's have a look. We're going to scroll down through some of this. So there we go. That is their post. Oh, I can't even see it. I just forgot that I'm suspended on this account. I forgot about it. All right, let's go into the second part. That's what I want to get to. So what's happening? What's happening? So this is following up on that post. You can read it in full. And I'll post that link in the chat there in case you want to see this. This is potentially huge capital coming into the big capital to Pulsechain. Now we saw 508 ETH, I think it was yesterday, coming over the chain, right? So it was over $1 million, about $1.1 million. Now apparently that's related to this big funds coming into Pulsechain. This is the first big capital, of course, since Richard Hart, Magic Upride stuff. So this is going to be a potentially big deal, right? We also saw stable swaps coming out as well. So that is a link to that full article. You can read that. I'm not going to read that, right? So, but you can read it. Now, what I do read is the second post. What's happening next on Pulsechain around this event? The current situation. The company is currently transferring capital from the fiat world to an exchange, and they are going through anti-money laundering controls. The company hopes that the remaining capital will successfully arrive on Pulsechain within the next 2 to 3 days. The plan is as following. There will be $10 million in the V3 pair with the 50-50 stable to DAI. So STPL is the new token that they're going to have, and it's going to be stable to DAI. So you want to keep a lookout for this, right? Big capital is coming in, and it may be a really good opportunity to get in nice and early on this token, STBL. It's going to be, all right? There will be 10 million in a V2 pair with 50-50 stable PLS as well. So we expect a lot of capital in that opening million. Looks like just an opening there. And there will be 2 million in a V2 pair with STBL and Soil node token there. So you're going to have to read the whole thing to get the background to that. I just want to talk about the money side of it, right? That's all we're talking about. We love the money side. So, all right. So the V2 liquidity will be likely to be set up on PulseX V1 because the company prefers to provide liquidity for its tokens on its own as much as possible and does not want to create incentives for others to earn from it. All right. Once the liquidity is established, Sun AG's batches will start. Since yesterday, customers have been able to convert their fiat prepaid capital into STBL tokens. So this is how that token's being issued there in the member area. The batches will ensure that the capital is transferred on-chain from Sun AG to the crypto world. The company is releasing a total of over $75 million worth. It's up to the customers to decide whether they want to claim the entire amount on-chain, on Pulsechain, only parts of it, or perhaps nothing at first, depending on the customer. According to a survey conducted by the company in its entire community, the primary interest of the customers is to eventually buy soil with the STBL and stake their STBL. Through the staking, they receive a share of 10% of the company's revenues, which are distributed daily to the staking pool. STBL staking is only available to customers and not to the external market. Just remember that. It's not pure DeFi staking, all right? So that's important. Other parts of this, the claimed STBL capital will flow into other Pulsechain assets. So this is a big deal. So we're looking closely at this. Do you need to do anything? No, of course you don't. Apparently, of course not. The information was solely provided to explain that something extraordinary is happening on Pulsechain. As a Pulsechain user, you can simply celebrate the fact that Pulsechain is just days away from experiencing the largest capital load since the fork. And that's incredible. 87 days ago is that what we said. The new STBL token will bring over $20 million in liquidity to Pulsechain. So this is a big deal. The STBL founder, Sun AG from Switzerland, will then release over 75 million in customer funds, giving its 5-figure customer base the opportunity to transfer this capital from the off-chain world onto the on-chain world of Pulsechain. Sun AG is also the biggest or largest Pulsechain onboarder that the Pulsechain world has seen so far. Thousands of customers will become Pulsechain users without having known anything about Pulsechain beforehand. By 2030, over 5 million customers expected to be onboarded solely for Sun. For this, Sun has developed a massive onboarding education system within its customer system. Additionally, the videos produced by the TV company are in the works to further strengthen the onboarding process in the future, and a dedicated new on and off ramp for Pulsechain is currently on development by Sun. So you don't have to worry about educating yourself on the new tokens. Instead, we can simply be grateful that such a financially strong company has chosen Pulsechain to realize its vision for its customers, and we can simply focus on crossing our fingers and that everything works out and that it becomes a lasting benefit for Pulsechain. You don't need, you also don't need to fear anyone that will try to take your money, because Sun AG has never asked for it. Quite the opposite. Sun has nothing to do with Pulsechain community to make the, has nothing within the Pulsechain community to make the crypto market understand what's going on. Their sole goal is to launch their crypto project on their, for their customer base. All the marketing efforts they're made so far have been outside of the Pulsechain ecosystem, where they've spent millions of dollars on sponsorships at major crypto conferences to raise awareness of Pulsechain. So there we go. So apparently they're going to have an English language white paper that was released for the first time, which will help those who want to better understand the attempt to merge the traditional product world with the blockchain world. So there we go. That is pretty awesome there. So kind of cool. And you got a lot of cool stuff happening there. So I'm not sure what that is, but there we go. So some of these comments here. All right, so that is pretty bullish. And of course, you can find out all about that in the first post about Sun. You can scroll down here. So yeah, Sun will bring in a few days the second largest liquidity Pulsechain after Richard Hart, over $20 million in the V3 and V2. Sun AG will subsequently release $75 million to customers. Going to be pretty massive. Why is Sun doing this? Primarily the goal of giving the customers the opportunity to actively work with their prepaid customer funds. This is intended to work in two ways, and you can check that. Swap of the STBL token into the company's volatile sword token, the company's cashback token, which has been purely inflationary so far, but will soon switch to be strong deflationary. So it's kind of cool. And you can read the rest of it. Staking their STBL to participate in the 10% revenue sharing. So that's a big deal. So yes, Sun AG has been onboarding customers to Pulsechain over a year now to create the most comprehensive onboarding platform in education. The CEO of Sun AG is one of the largest sacrifices for Pulse and has been a fan of Richard Hart since the early days of Hex, where he is also heavily invested. He specifically chose Pulsechain because he saw the opportunity to accomplish two goals at once: create his token vision for his customers and become the largest onboarder on Pulsechain, with the goal of bringing over 5 million customers to Pulsechain by 2030. So this is pretty mega huge, right? And so we'll be looking forward to seeing this play out over the next couple of days and beyond, I guess. Kind of cool. All right, so that is kind of some of the upside. You can read the full stuff yourself as well. And that is from Hex Scout, which we know is the #1 Hex portfolio manager for Hex stakes and other things like that. So definitely check that out. I'm going to post that link in the chat there. Hope you like the bullish news. Don't get much more bullish than that. Like apart from the Magic Cartwright account, I guess, but this is bullish long term. So Hex Scout, bullish news. All right, so there we go. Post that in the house as well. We got Archie in the house there of the directorate. Big shout out to Archie, the Don of Dons. Good to see you in the chat there. And there's the link to this full article. So give it a good read. You know, ask questions around and all that sort of stuff. This is hyper bullish. So watch the charts, mate. Watch the charts. There's always a bottom, right? There's always a bottom. Even with the court case out there, we're full DeFi chain, and have that resilience. So kind of cool. All right, let's go quickly to our last topic, which is the Hex Daily payout. Let's see if we're a couple of days behind on the updates here. Look at that. This one here is not too bad. We had this 7.4x back here on this day, which would have been day 486, I think. Day 486, 7.4 hex per T-share on the chain there. Kind of cool. Hopefully this is going to get updated a bit faster so I can talk about it. That's all I can say. So that is the end of our Pulsechain update. Man, things are looking good. Things are looking good. Maybe everybody will come back. Maybe we want to come back and not be frightened of the chain. Now, the other thing we're going to get to is we're going to get into Titanex now. We're going to talk about Hydra, Inferno, Titan Farms, and Flux. And that's not a swear word. That's a cool name. Cool name there. And this is hyper bullish, right? So hyper bullish on this. Let me add this in the house there. Let's go for gold. Now, there has been a big influencer thing for the Titanx ecosystem that's been on. Multiple influencers out there. I think there's something like 20 now in the Titanx ecosystem. So there's some crossover with a couple of Pulsechain Hex influencers in there too, which is kind of cool. And of course, we've been involved with it since day one in our strategy club on the Discord. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. Now, we've got some big movers here. Titanx has, maybe because that on live stream, has powered over 8,000 again. This just happened in the last 30 minutes or so. This thing's really piling up there. You can see in the last hour up 7.2% on Titanx. So the influencer streaming seems to be doing its thing. Jake Sharp, the founder of Titanx, has been on there as well. Best performer the last 24 hours is Titanx. It's just taken the spot and you just took it because of the last hour move there. Up 10%, 10.3% in the last 6 hours. So Titanx, they're going up and up and up. Remember, Titanx is the layer one, is the medium of exchange. It is about to go from hyperinflationary to hyperdeflationary. Even if Titanx mining becomes new, that's only going to be a relatively small percentage of what will be available in the liquid supply by the time it comes out. So really, really huge. $67 million market cap for Titanx now. I repeat, $67 million, heading towards that $100 million mark. Yes, sir. So don't sleep on Titanx. That's all we can say. Now, if you want to find out more, of course, join our strategy club. The link's in the video description. We're going to go full screen on this and have a look at the latest and greatest. So as you guys know, I've got pretty much a cool roadmap here of the projects coming up. And we've got some of the latest dates and updates for this. So Titanx is moving up. You can see that. Pretty good day in the office. We had a little bit of retraces. We're marking up there. Look at that chart. Beautiful, right? Let's get rid of the overlay so you can see the chart itself. Look at that. It's looking pretty beautiful. We're up over 8,000. It's going to lose the zeros very soon. This thing's heading up to lose a zero. And losing a zero, in other words, going from 6 zeros to 5 zeros is right up here. That's all it is. So it's not far. It's what, 20% from here. So yeah, that's 20%. Less than, about 20%, give or take. And of course, we're 8,000 now. So watch this thing. It's going to blow minds. We're heading towards $1 billion, right? That's the next target. 100 million, sorry, is 100 billion is the next target, and then we're going to head towards 1 billion, 10x from there. So game on here. Titanx is going to get very scarce with all the protocols and burnings and things like that coming up. It's going to be fun times. Now, where am I going? I got to go back. All right, let's go full screen, and we're going to go back into the projects. So we've got, we did cycle 7. Cycle 7 was brilliant. So let's delete that now. And because we haven't got that anymore. Titan Legends, that launched. So that was brilliant too. So we're going to delete that. That's alive. So Titan Legends is alive. Legend X is alive. We're going to talk about that chart soon. So we're going to delete that. So where are we up to now? Well, we're up to the following. So let's move this back because we probably had testing going on. I don't know if it's testing started, but we'll say it started. So we've got Hydra coming up. So when is Hydra coming up? Well, it hasn't launched today. So we know that it's not going to be tomorrow. So let's push this over here. And we've got the 13th here. So Hydra is coming up. So we've got Hydra coming up there. How many days is that? 13 to 15. So we might make that just a couple of days longer there. So we've got Hydra coming up is tomorrow. So we had an update today on the stream from Jake Sharp on Hydra. Hydra is the next super project going to make benefit Titanx and DragonX. And of course, it's going to be a cost-based protocol, ROI protocol that's going to be hyper bullish with hyper returns on it for those that go long. And yeah, it's going to be absolutely epic. It's going to increase the DragonX WoW staking. 20% of the Titanx going into that. 8% is going into the Vortex, of course. So 8% is going to Vortex. 92% of it's going to be reallocated. So 92%, 20% is going into the DragonX to make the DragonX staking bigger into the vault. And then, of course, 20% is going into going to be buying DragonX and burning that. And, of course, the rest of it's going to be going into the burn Hydra, right? So that's basically the idea. That's going to be hyper bullish. Now, we know that there's a ton of excitement, a ton of FOMO about Hydra. I think there's 1,700 or so in the Telegram group. We know that's getting big views, over 10, 12,000 views on the Hydra white paper. So it's going to be mega big there. Hydra is going to be massive. There could be trillions of Titanx go in it in the first day. And people were talking about 10 to 15 trillion. We know that there's about 63 trillion Titanx at the moment. We're going through the last 3 weeks or so of big inflation in Titanx. And so this is going to be mega bullish for Titan X and Dragon X and Hydra, right? It's going to be a big deal. It's got multiple flywheel effects on Titan X and Dragon X, and of course Hydra itself is going to be massively burned, right? There's not a lot of bonus. There's no referral bonuses, earlier bonuses, or anything like that. This thing is really cost driven. And of course, those that go long will get the highest yield, relatively speaking. So, going to be pretty epic. Now, it's also going to have the vortex in it, its own vortex, just like Hyper. It's going to require Titan X to go into it. So, really bullish from that point of view. And we know that by tomorrow, apparently the first audit's going to be complete. There's no issues that Jake said. There's no issues. So this thing is looking very good. So therefore, I've got it between the 13th and the 17th that Hydra is going to launch. But we know he wants to launch it as soon as possible. So let's see what happens there. I don't know if he's going to do a second order on that last 10%, but I think he really wants to launch it pretty soon. So we're going to keep this window up very close. And Titan X is moving up and away right as we speak, as you can see in the chart, over 8,000 again. So this is probably going to keep climbing into this Hydra launch as people demand Titan X to go into Hydra for the bullish returns, right? Now, what do we got there? So we got Inferno coming up as well. Inferno countdown is counting down. There's only 2.5 days to go until the final cycle for Inferno. It also will be the end of the inflation for Inferno. And then the buy and burn is going to burn that inflation away, help push the price up. In addition to that, obviously, Hydra is launching. Titan X is going to go up. All that sort of stuff is going to be pretty bullish. And then, of course, after Titan Inferno, we're going to have projects like Flux coming in as well, which are hyper bullish for Inferno to burn that off even more. 17.2% of Flux going in, Titan X going into Flux, going to go into Inferno. It's going to be mega. We also have, obviously, big DeFi coming out. Ouroboros is going into testnet, so we're going to have lending and borrowing and stablecoin. That's huge, right? The Ouroboros protocol potentially launching in the second half of September. We're also going to have Vault coming up as well. Now, Vault is going to be huge also for the ecosystem, particularly for Dragon X. They're all, I think, Flux and Vault both feeding Hydra as well. Vault and Flux are both feeding Dragon X. So you're going to have Hydra, Vault, and Flux all feeding Dragon X buy and burn or staking or whatever. So it's going to be pretty cool. Actually, all going to the Vault. So it's going to be bullish for staking. So that's pretty cool. We're also going to have potentially Felix out towards the end of September and Pulsar as well. So hyper bullish for that. Now, one thing that we're going to be going through is Titan Farms has been confirmed for a early October launch. So we had this at the end of September. I've moved this now to early October, and Flux has confirmed that they are going launch for September. That's why I've got such a long launch here between the 16th and September. So somewhere in Flux is going to be launching there, and Titan X Farms has moved from September to October, but that's been confirmed as early September. So hyper bullish, and potentially Element 28 in October, and Viper in October as well. So lots of cool stuff coming down the line. There's projects that are not on this list like Flare, but we're really looking forward to all the stuff coming out. Now, in addition to all the projects, they're going to be sucking away Titan X and other stuff. We've also got the Vortex Hyper payout that's going to bring a third buy and burn into play from Hyper. And we've also got the Hyper 96-day payout, which is sitting at 71 billion at the moment. And that's the only inflation expected to come out for the next 25 to 30 days. So there you see, going to see on Hyper that the Hyper liquid supply is going down every day because of the burning. And then, of course, on the 30th of October, we've got the big 369 payout, which is going to make the Dragon X super well, extremely rich. That's all going to go back into buy Titan X and burn it. It's about $2.5 million plus or minus a couple $100,000. And that's going to be mega huge. And of course, Hydra here is likely to make this even bigger. It could be up to $3.5–4 million by the time we get there. With Hydra there going to make the Dragon X well even bigger. So this payout is super duper good. And obviously going to buy and get effectively burn through staking the Titan X supply. It is legitly a huge. This ecosystem is going to be mega huge, and we don't want to miss out on it, right? So if you want to find out more details, of course, get into the Strategy Club on that. So let's go have a quick look at some of the protocols. Before we do, let me just check any comments in the chat. We got good to see Jason there. Great coverage today. Thanks. You're most welcome. The big boss man says Wookie. Indeed. Yeah, Lies Beneath. Always doing a great job, isn't he, Sandy? So thanks very much, Lies. All right, so let's get into this. So yeah, Titan X the number one here at the moment on the 24-hour up 5%. Also the number one on the 1 hour and 11, not the 11 at 6 hours, but on the 1 hour. We got number 2 is, Inferno's just taken over, and number 1 there on the daily. But on the 6 hourly, on the hourly, there's the hourly. No, they've all moved around. Sorry, the prices are moving as we're talking about. So we've got Inferno's taking number 1 spot there at 5%. And of course, Inferno, as you saw on that chart, is about to go through cycle 8 in 2.5 days. Will they get? Potentially they could suck out 1.5 to 2 trillion Titanex. It's definitely on the roadmap because they've done so. Last time they did 1.5 trillion. There's no reason why they can't finish off with a bigger roar there. We got the Titanex up next. Hyper is up 1.2%. The rest of them are down on 24 hours. But if we look at the 6 hourlies, we can see that Baby Dragon X is up 17.5%, Dragon X up 14.5%, and of course Dragon X about to lose a 0 again for the third time. Is it the third time? So let's go have a look at Dragon X. Obviously, this whale is about to benefit from most of the protocols coming up ahead of us, so it is going to be the big whale. And let's see if that's going to update. And let's see here. All right, so this is the Dragon X, the big super whale, the big store of value. You can see it's already been up 4 zeros once, twice, third time lucky. It's got a slightly higher low on the 4 hourly. These are 4 hourly candles, and it's looking good. So I think we're about to go one more time, and I think once we go, we're going to go right. We're going to go above 4 zeros, and we're going to stay there. Hopefully, with all the stuff news coming up there, seems the most likely outcome. So pretty bullish on Dragon X. Let's get back in here. And what else we got there? On the 70 hour, whatever we got the Inferno. Yeah, Inferno doing really well. Just went to 1200, so that's pretty good. Let's see what else is going there. Hyper at 3300. So a quick look at Hyper. These are all the blue chips, as I call them. Let's go to the daily on Hyper. That's the daily chart there. So at 3300, it's been as high as 4000, almost just shy of 4000. Let's see where that goes. That could really ramp up. Remember, this is where all the ETH is going. Now, the ETH did taper off a bit, went down from about 150 to 70 ETH or something yesterday with the white paper of Hydra, but that may very well just pop back up again. Obviously, people can go ETH into Hyper, and of course, they can. It's a leverage play on getting more Titanex, and of course, it's got tons and tons of ETH in there, and we're going to show you how much ETH is in there. It's huge. And of course, then we're going to have Hydra as well, which is going to require Titanex. So it's going to be interesting, this play between those two as we move forward. Obviously, Hydra is going to potentially take a lot of Titanex off the market, along with Inferno and the rest of the protocols that are launching, like Flux and others. So going to be a pretty big deal. So what else we got going? We're going to have a quick look at some of the other ones there. Let's go have a look on the hourly there. We got Baby Dragon X, like I say, is up 17%. JakeX, the meme coin, is up 12.6%. What else is going there? Legend X, which launched yesterday. Let's have a quick look at this chart. This launched yesterday, and I did cover it briefly. Let's have a look at the 4 hourly chart for this. So that's the 4 hourly chart. Had a big exciting roar. It's came all the way down to 0.004,000. It's now almost back at 0.005,000. So it's almost recovering there. And of course, this has got this NFT token hybrid thing. And of course, the penalties are very large for the first 26 days. They start with 50% plus the 3% tax, which is 53% for people that got NFTs, going down to day 26, where it gets down just to the fee, the transfer fee, which is 3% there. But people can buy Legend X off the market and go and try and get one of those NFTs and then park it in the battlefield. So you want to check out the white paper for all the details. That's just a quick summary, really. So let's see how high this chart will go. Legend X there, market 1.3 million, could go a lot higher. So very much a new idea, and we'll see how that goes. But so far, I think it's offering a lot of value potentially to people. What else? Blaze at the moment, $2.43, down 15%, but up 8% on the old Blaze. And so we could look at that chart. Blaze. Yeah, it's been coming off the bottom there. The ratio is what you want to look at on all these. So Titanex, you want to look at the ratio of these projects to Titanex, right? Gives you an idea of the relative value and also the market cap. So those two things are pretty important to look at. We've got 3.12 Titanex per Blaze at the moment, and you can see the chart for itself. So there we go, Blaze ticking away. And Helios down here as well with the Treasury. It's down 12.4%. Really struggling a little bit, I think, the Helios, but it may have its day in the sun. Still consolidating around here. Had a nice little rally, consolidating now. 5 zeros, 1200. 1.57 Titanex per Helios. So there we go. Kind of gives you an indication. Market cap 642K. So Helios, struggling a little bit. Good idea. Certainly, we'll be looking out for any improvements in that over time, and other projects, of course. What else? I think that's it. So let's jump over to the future inflation. First of all, let's go to the current inflation of Titanex, because this is a really big indicator for everybody, right? How much the Titanex is around. We've got two buy and burns at the moment. We've got the V2. At the moment, we've got V2, which is this one here. It's a almost $1.99 million, 783 ETH. That is going down about 17 ETH every day. And so that will probably run to the end of October. And of course, but we'll expect to have mining profitable again well before then, given all these projects and supply sinks. At the moment, we're negative 32. But as soon as that reverses, gets to about positive 32, then we'll probably start to see mining start to come in for the Titanex. But remember, the Titanex mining ratio here is down to 2.6 million. It started off at 8 million at the 28th of October last year. So it's come down a lot way from 8 million to 2.6. So, that total percentage of new inflation will be out in the future, will be relatively small compared to what it is today, at least. So that's a big deal. Now, the buy and burn ticking away there. We've got that V2, so it's buying in Titanex and so forth. We've also got Hyper, right? So Hyper is also buying a Titanex at the moment with the buy and burn, and that is currently sitting at a whopping $2 million. Just hit that today. It is 845 ETH in there. Pretty awesome, right? Just hit $2 million. So Hyper looking very good indeed, and the mining yield pretty attractive, right? 318%. Now, how will that go with Hydra when it launches? Obviously, Titanex is required for that. Hyper is a leverage play on Hyper on Titanex, so it's going to be interesting to see where economic energy goes to. We already see a bit of a pullback on the white paper yesterday. Well, how will that go? So far, looks like we're still getting a lot more ETH coming in, and of course, you can check that out with Mike Dean's premium service with the data charts there. 845 ETH, amazing. It's been so good. And the Vortex is going up as well. We've got 361 ETH in there at the moment, $860,000 US. So yeah, look at that, pretty amazing. And those are the two buy and burns. Obviously, the Hyper burns in there as well. It's also heading towards $1 million burning Hyper as well. So kind of cool. So that is the current type. Let's go have a look at this current supply. So we've got those two buy and burns. We're expecting that Vortex to come in on the 19th. So that's only about 9 days away or so. So that or 19 days. So that's going to be our third buy and burn, and it's buying Titanex and getting rid of it. And we've got obviously Inferno coming out that could supply sync 2 billion. So you can see how this is all going to add up pretty fast. Titanex is going to go from inflationary to hyper deflationary very, very quickly. It's going to be bullish. Now, how much Titanex is there at the moment? 63.2 trillion Titanex, but that's going to, you watch it disappear pretty fast over the next 6 to 8 weeks. The other thing is that we have it's increased by about 1.9 trillion today. We had a flow over from yesterday, plus today's, yesterday's candle and the day before. So we had a bit of a flow over. That's why it was so large. But really, we're through the trillion candles. The billion minting candles for new inflation today at the moment. So not too bad. We're sitting at 35.37% liquid. Now, this is all going to get very scarce very quickly. I know it looks like a lot at the moment. It's $51 million worth. But you watch over the next 6 to 8 weeks, this is really going to get hit into the hyper deflationary, and people are going to be scampering to try and get Titanex. It's my precious, as we say. It is the medium exchange. Now, that's the existing supply. Let's look at the future supply. Now, the future supply is on the June dashboard, so we're going to have a look at that. Let's see where we're going here. Going down. Let's have a look at the we're going to look at the 90 days. So as you can see, we've actually got rid of this one here, so that's old. We've actually gone into this one now. Let's actually do a refresh, see if we got a new update here. Or we do it. And let's scroll down there. Yeah, so we got 5 hours. So this is 5 hours old. So that blue candle there is no longer there. That 1.33, that's gone. We're now in this orange one here, which is 814 billion. This is the new inflation. We've got 4 relatively low days. I mean, 18 is, decent day, but then we really drop off, get down to 395 by the 13th. Then we get up to the 15th and the 16th. Those are our last 2 big candles left. That's it. We've got 3.6 on the 15th. We got 2 trillion. That's our last of our 2 trillion candles. Remember, we had 3 of those, so this is the last one. That's coming up within the next week. And those 2 are the last of the big candles. Then we get relatively low, around half a billion a day. We even got a low day there of 286 on the 20th. Now, you know, around the 20th, that's when we get our third buy and burn. That's going to be the Vortex from Hyper, and that's going to add more buying and burning capability of Titanex. So it's going to absorb a lot of this inflation and help with that, right? So it's pretty cool. Now, obviously, the price of Titanex goes up, then obviously it has a relatively smaller impact unless ETH goes up, right? So that's kind of the play there. And then we're going to slowly ramp up until the end of our Titanex trillion candles. So after we get through the middle of the month, we're only going to have 7 trillion candles left. We're going to have 5 of them at the end of September, between the 25th of September all the way to the 29th. We're going to drop off after that. And then in October, we only have the 2 last trillion candles left. There they go, the 2nd and the 5th. After that, there's no more trillion candles left. At the moment, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trillion candles left. And we're about to get rid of all those. And then what do you see in front of that? By the 5th of October, what do you see? You see the death of inflation at the moment. It's just going to die off. And so whatever burns, buy and burns, whatever supply is taken into 2nd, 3rd, 4th level protocols, that's it, right? So really we're going to taper off pretty hardcore. And certainly by the time we get to the 20th of October, it is pretty damn low in terms of the inflation. You can see it really goes really, really low. And of course, on the 30th of October, which is sitting right here, the candle at that day is 195 billion. And we got the big payouts, staker payouts, which is going to be absolutely massive, $7 million or so. A really big deal. And of course, DragonX is probably going to have potentially have about 45% of that. So it could be really, really big. And of course, we probably expect a lot of the retail book that gets that payout to reinvest as well, unlike we saw in January earlier this year. Pretty exciting. And of course, during this time, we're likely to have in October, in this time here, this zone here, we're likely to have the Titanex miners are profitable, if not already in September. So that's going to be bullish as well. And we could have more ETH coming into the buy and burn, filling up the old Titanex there. So pretty awesome. At the moment, DragonX has got, as we say, DragonX has got $2.1 million worth of ETH. That is likely to really climb once Hydra launches, right? Because all that Titanex going in there, 20% going to the 20% of the 92% going into the staking. Going to be really big deal there, and to pump that, and it all gets forced, has to stake, has to go buy Titanex with the ETH. It's got 876 ETH in it at the moment, has to go buy Titanex and stake it, so it takes more Titanex off the market pretty much forever. And then when it auto restakes, when it matures, it is pretty crazy. So DragonX is going to become the store of value juggernaut in the old Pulsechain there. Not Pulsechain, on Ethereum, I should say. So pretty cool. Now, these are all the projects that we've got at the moment. So they're all ticking away. Now, obviously, we've got other projects coming up. We've talked about quite a few of those in the timeline. We've got Pulsar, we've got Ouroboros. So Ouroboros is bringing lending and borrowing and stablecoin. What else we got here? We've got Titan Farms is bringing liquidity pools and a lot of innovations around incentives. So it's going to fatten up the liquidity. You can see that's in early October. That's been confirmed. We've got FireX out there as well. We'll probably talk more about that at some stage as we get more information. We've got Flux, which we talked about today. That's in September, and Flux is going to be hyper bullish. Let's go into the distribution. It's going to be auctions, right, for the inflation. Let's go to the distribution. 70.2% of Titanex is going into to Inferno, and that's going to burn Inferno. And we know that Inferno's got 2.5 days away until the last cycle, so that's hyper bullish for Inferno. Really amazing. It's going to have 2 burns, basically. 2 burns there. And of course, we're going to have Flux itself being burned. We're going to have 4% going to the DragonX vault. So we're going to have at least 3 different protocols feeding in the DragonX vault at the moment in September. And of course, 2% goes to Helios Treasury. That's certainly going to help the Helios Treasury there, which does the multiple investments in the Titanex ecosystem generally. So that's pretty bullish there as well. So that's a big deal, the Flux protocol, and going to help Inferno and DragonX and Helios a lot, right? So that's going to be pretty good. Obviously, we've got Element 280. This is another very innovative. So if we've got lending, borrowing, and stablecoin with Ouroboros, we've got LP providing an incentives with Titan Farms, and that's going to be built on top of DragonX, right, by the DragonX founder. Then we've also got Element 280, right, which is very innovative as well. It's kind of like an index fund. So you can see all this quality DeFi coming into Titanex, absolutely supercharging the ecosystem at the right time. That is set for October, as we talked about. Big deal there. And of course, the white paper there is pretty exciting with the distribution. So Titanex distribution, first 200 billion Titanex to create an LP pool. after LPs. 100% goes to buy ecosystem tokens. Isn't that crazy? That is so good. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. And of course, look at all the projects on the list that's going to go buy. So you can see it's a bit like an index or a fund or a CD, not CD, an ETF, I mean. So it's got all the projects on the list, and that's going to be crazy. So if you want to share in the glory of all the projects, you can just go and enter E280, which I think is a fantastic idea. Man, this is so good. Let's go to the tokenomics quickly. There's going to be a 28 mint phase, so a relatively short mint phase as well. One Titanx equals one E280 coin. That's going to be pretty easy, and E280 coins will be claimable after 48 hours of minting. Going to be pretty cool. Cap supply is finished once the mint phase ends over 28 days. It's going to be deflationary from buy token burns forever afterwards. It's going to have a buy and sell tax. This is quite different. It's going to 16% buy, sell, transfer tax during the mint phase. 12.8% goes to NFT rewards, 1.6% to the E280 burn, 1.2% to Genesis, and 0.4% to Helios. So Helios getting some more love here from this project. So yeah, we get Titan X getting love, Dragon X getting love from these other projects, Inferno getting some love, the Alice getting some love. There's lots of love going around the devs here from one project to another. This is I guess part of the culture, part of the way that the Titan XS system is developing there and the way it's designed from Jake Sharp. So kind of cool. There'll be a 4% buy sell tax transfer forever after the mint. So that's during the mint, after the mint. 2.4% of NFT rewards, 0.8% on the E280 burn. The Genesis wallet and the Helios also have a little bit there too. So kind of cool. And of course, they've got the NFT technology in here as well. Pretty cool. It's got the NFT specs. We're not going to go through all this today, but that's the kind of idea at the moment. And again, it's got different NFTs in here and the different mint cost in Titan X. So if you get a legendary, it's going to be 10 billion. You get a common, it's 100 million Titan X. And of course, a pretty exciting NFT backing there and the multiplier reward as well. So there's lots of cool stuff in there, including the reward pool. So you can definitely check out all that too on Element 280. Now, if you want to check out any of these projects, of course, you can go to Titan X Hub. This is created by let me put that on there. This is created by Mike Dean. Mike Dean made this. He's the #1 data guy for Titan X. So that is pretty cool. Those are all coming up there. So like I say, we've got lending, borrowing, USD stable. We've got other ROI protocols. We've got liquidity pool and LP incentives. And then we're going to have this index fund with Element 280. And then we've got ones like Vault, right? Vault coming out as well. Vault's going to be very bullish. And of course, we've still got the token distribution. Max supply 1 billion tokens. It's going to be pretty cool. It's going to have a 10-day launch phase for the first 10 days. And then that's going to be the total supply out in 10 days. So we saw E280 out in 28 days. It's going to be out in 10 days. And then, of course, the token distribution, daily auctions of Vault tokens are conducted using Titan X. So you're going to need Titan X for this as well. And yeah, buy and burn feed grow 80%. Looking pretty good there. Titan X burn 4%. 8% bonding. There's going to be 8% to the Genesis wallet, which is typically they pay the developers for that as well. So kind of bullish there. That's a quick overview. Obviously, there's the second phase as well, Vault Wheel, and the third stage as well coming out after that. So stay tuned for that. That's pretty cool. And obviously we talked about FireX there. I think that uses Ethereum, and then we've got Felix there as well. No white paper for that to be honest there. So FireX and Felix you may not have heard too much about, but they're coming up. There's also other projects that are not on this list, like Flare. Flare is looking good. That's from the Flux team, I believe, related to Inferno. So that's coming out in other projects as well. So if you go to the E280, you can actually see in the white paper, they've got this Element 280 board, which has got all the different projects they're potentially going to buy up into the index. And you can see lots of names in here, 28. What else there? We got Battle here, Aviator X, Awesome X. We'll find out, I guess, more about those projects. WinV. So there's a couple other in there that we don't see on that list. So keep a lookout. This list of projects built on Titan X going to continue to grow. And there's this raw ethos around developers and using Jack Levin's principles of launching, fair launch, V3 pools, peered. It's going to be pretty exciting. And we're going to have, if Titan X is the layer 1, we're going to have layer 2s, layer 3s, layer 4s. That's what the ecosystem really looking bullish from that point of view. Now, the other one, of course, is X28. That's going to be multi-chain, right? So that's going to open up all this bullish ecosystem that's developing on Ethereum and dominating Ethereum, and it's going to probably just dominate Ethereum for the bull market, is going to expand to multiple chains, right, through the X28. And I'm expecting that in November at the moment, so that's on the timeline for November. It could be hyper bullish for that. So this system is about to explode. If you want to find out more details, jump into our strategy club, chat club, and it's $35 a month. So definitely join up. Links in the video description for that, and you'll get constant intel about all these projects and insights as well. So definitely join up for that. All right, so looking pretty good, and you can see that the it's really starting to take off there. There wasn't a lot of comments from Jack or from Eric from the Titan X or Dragon X today on X, but there was the big streaming stream that they did, so you can check that out. You can find that on X pretty easily. They got a big streaming of tons of influencers and community members on that stream along with Jack, so it's well worth watching for all that, and some good fun chatter as well. So looking pretty good. So the moves, Hyper's on the move. Look at that, Hyper's on the move. I said Hyper's undervalued, right? So I've been looking at that. We're sitting at 4.26 on the ratio. We're actually still pretty down on the ratio, like I thought we'd start to break out. So we'll keep a lookout on this ratio. I still think it's relatively undervalued, but we'll see what Hydra does to that as well. Inferno, of course, is going to have its last cycle in 2.5 days. And if we go to the website, it is looking pretty good. So let's go to the price here. You can see the price chart moving up. I did call this in the strategy club. So if you've been in a strategy club, you know this is one to watch. And man, oh man, it's going to be a lot of fun. They did have a little bit issue with some bots getting botted, but looks like they've fixed that for the time being. Yeah, it's getting closer. I mean, we've got 4.7 trillion Inferno in existence. 2.1 trillion has been burned off already. That's 44%. They've had 5.8 trillion in Titan X. Like I say, the last couple of rounds, cycle 7 was 1.5 trillion. Cycle 6 was 1.1 trillion. I mean, it really have been doing amazing with the numbers. What will the final cycle 8 be? It's in 2 days and 12 hours and 52 minutes. Cycle 8 opens up. Will it hit somewhere between 1.5 and 2 trillion? 2 trillion being the top target there. It could be insane. That's a lot of, we saw those inflation candles coming out. We just come through 7 days of $1 trillion or more with 2 trillion candles in there, 2 times 2 trillion candles in there. And if we get 2 trillion in this protocol in cycle 8, that's 2 trillion of that just gone, right? In terms of going into the buy and burn. So it's kind of neat from that point of view. And we also know, obviously, that Flux is coming out. It's also going to contribute to the buy and burn in here as well. So make Inferno hyper and deflationary really quick. Very exciting to see that. And we see more projects with shorter mint timeframes and more buy and burns and to get that hyper deflationary increase in value. So a lot of exciting stuff happening here with that. So pretty big deal. All right. So hope you guys enjoy it. So much coming. And look at us moving up. This is a good old Inferno. So that was another good call there. Definitely worth jumping into the strategy club. Links in the video description. Only $35 a month, so super cheap. And you got super bullish value in there. Hopefully you'll be in the right projects for the bull market and make mad gains, including, of course, Pulsechain, which looks like it's getting some very good news at the moment, probably at the perfect time. So game on, as we say. Hope you guys enjoyed today's content. Pulsechain pumps again. Hydra, Inferno, Titan X farms, Flux, and much more. And that's a cool overview. Love going through the stuff, and yeah, look forward to it. Moon. Big X's ahead. That's all we can say. Heading towards billions of dollars, I would say, for the old Titan X ecosystem. Currently in the heading towards 100 million for a Titan X alone. All right, take care, everybody, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And I will catch you again tomorrow for market rounds ups again. All right, take care, and bye for now.